You're listening to Depth Perception, supported by our patrons on Patreon.
Dude, what's HAIM doing these days? Aren't they on the new I think they're on the new Kid Cudi album or something. Oh, they put out an album this year. Didn't know that.
They did, and I listened to one song from it. It was good, but I didn't listen to more.
Shout out to HAIM.
Yeah.
Or maybe were they on Taylor Swift? Is that what it was?
I think they became friends with Taylor Swift, maybe.
They just popped up in my life recently.
Oh, okay. Did you listen to any of that new Taylor Swift stuff?
I liked Folklore. I did not listen to Evermore.
Did she know that those rhyme? There's no way she would have.
No.
There's no way she could have predicted
Yeah,
that.
no. HAIM is on a song on Evermore called "No Body, No Crime."
Rhymes with HAIM.
Badass.
Well, nobody, no crime. Rhymes with HAIM.
No body, no HAIM.
Rhymes with HAIM.
What? Don't they have some Eric Andre connection or something?
Well, they at least indirectly, because Eric Andre went to school with Thundercat, and they're in one of Thundercat's music videos. But I don't know more than that.
Oh, maybe Thundercat's who I'm thinking of.
So yeah, I mean, they're only 1 degree of separation away from Thundercat. At most.
Yeah, 1 degree of Kevin Bacon away from.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's 2 degrees. I guess 1 degree of separation would be that they're not the same person.
And okay, so that's a good transition to this. Sucks. They all suck, but that one especially.
Yeah,
sucks.
that one. Oh.
Speaking of not being the same person, we're talking about New Year's this year.
Yes.
For the only time. It's the only time it's going to come up.
Peel back another layer of the resolution onion.
Yeah. I'm Randy.
My name's Leo.
I'm the left dinosaur.
And I'm the right dinosaur one.
Yeah. Our dinosaurs match our political philosophies.
Hold on.
And
yeah, but that's because the dinosaur legislature it was reversed. The politically left leaning the politically radical dinosaurs sat on the right side.
That sucks. Yeah.
Like the Stegosaurus, for example.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody knows that the Stegosaurus is a commie. It's a red.
It's a red.
Okay. We should do an episode where we teach dinosaurs theory.
Okay. I think we could map.
It'd be fun. Yeah, I'll buy some toy
map
dinosaurs and we can do it.
It would track.
I think we all know what a T-Rex is.
Let's not talk about it on air. I don't want to alienate any of our reptilian viewers.
That's true. Well, I think alienate is kind of a weird word to choose, Leo.
Moving on. The other day I was I was drying some glasses or something like that. By drying, I mean placing them in the drying rack. I let time do the work for me. And I knocked one off, and it shattered on the ground. And it was a glass that was special to me. It was the glass with a Welsh corgi wearing a Christmas sweater that said Feliz Navidad. That said Feliz Naughty Dog on it, which I traded to get.
That's good.
It was part of a set of 2, and I traded something to get one of them last year at a Christmas party, because Hosmic liked them, and I broke it while she was gone. And I had the thought I could take this and I could glue the pieces back together. And just before this podcast, I took out the trash, and when I picked it up, I heard it jingle, and I remembered.
You remembered how bad you blew it. What if that's the thing she's been looking forward to coming home to?
Feliz Naughty Dog. Feliz Naughty Dog.
We're talking about New Year's today, which means we're talking about resolutions, and we're talking about why we make commitments that we know we're not going to keep before we even bother to make the commitment. Can you remember any past New Year's resolutions?
Let me think.
That were especially significant? I mean, when I was little, it was, I'm going to be an astronaut this year. Things like this. But I don't consider that one particularly significant.
I don't. I never really made them. They're not my style.
Okay, hipster. Well, I only have one that stands out to me. It was my resolution from last year, which was that this was going to be the year that I start performing live music in venues. And the cosmos saw fit to take that from me.
I actually did remember one. Last year, I was like kind of depressed last early winter, and I felt really down on myself. And like it wasn't quite a New Year's resolution, but it was something that felt important, and it was like to get myself into therapy. And I did that, and it definitely helped. But work remains to be done.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. That's like a real one.
Yeah, I feel like I made a COVID resolution, which was to learn how to play banjo. And now I have a TLC. Now I have a TLC show called Three Banjos and Counting.
Well, we should do an episode about weird reality shows like that.
Yeah.
Well, enough of the fun stuff. This is going to be a serious episode.
Tell me about what you would do differently. What New Year's resolution you might have made if you had known about what 2020 would have been like. If you could have had a glimpse, but you couldn't tell anyone.
The specific one that I would have made, I don't know. I feel like part of my problem when I make a New Year's resolution, because I do take them pretty seriously for up to 7 days. Part of my problem when I make them is that I become ambitious, which is not who I am. I'm not the kind of person that's like into opening doors for myself. I much prefer and like get a lot more out of closing doors for myself. So maybe the thing that I'll do in resolutions going forward is like I will not do certain things. You know, maybe I should tell myself to stop eating after 10 or something like that. Something actually possible. Or maybe my resolution will be that like I'll never make another New Year's resolution. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely things I would like to do in the new year, but they're generally the exact same thing I want to do every year, which is like get in better shape and read more and put away my laundry more often.
Yeah.
Those things are like, what are the chances, really? I'm great about washing my laundry. I'm not great about putting it away because it's like close enough to pointless that I have trouble with it.
The thing about this year that's interesting is that the New Year is kind of a ritual rift, you know. It's a ritual that we're really invested in because it happens every year by definition.
What about yourself? What is your like relationship with New Year's resolutions, since you said you don't really make them?
A lot of the things that I feel like I wanted to have happen, I feel like I've actually gotten a little bit better at setting goals this year, so maybe I should make one. But a lot of the things that I normally like kind of certain things that were in my backlog of like, oh, these are goals I want to have, kind of happened this year. And honestly, it was because of the time that I had because of COVID and like this liminal space that I was in, not having a job, but like, I don't know. Also, like,
dude, what's better than unemployment for like self-fulfillment?
It can be good. In the past, it's been bad, but this was the first time that it overall was a boon for me, I think.
Oh my God, yeah. Last time I was unemployed, I was like smoking weed all the time and sleeping until 1 o'clock. This time I was like in bed by 11 and up by 6. It was great. It was like freedom.
Boy. I mean, I was unemployed the previous spring, and I was having a rough time early 2019. Like I had like a prescription for Adderall. It was effing things up more than it was helping. It made it easier to do like all of the sort of like instant gratification things that I was already doing. And and really hard to plan anything. I wasn't more creative, but I was also smoking weed. So you get how that turned out, how that would turn out. Just not a lot of momentum.
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah, and luckily I stopped using that before I developed any kind of dependency on it.
What, Adderall?
Yeah, yeah, I never had a problem, but the problem was like I would take it and then I would have a horrible day and feel horrible about myself. But I never got addicted to it.
That was like
Yeah,
definitely my relationship with weed. Oh, your camera's real again.
that was also my relationship with weed. But I was also worried that if I didn't use weed, it wasn't that I was worried I'd be addicted, it was that I'd be like unable to be creative. But it never got to the point where that was worth, it wasn't like being creative was like worth, like worth smoking weed for. So I would stop and then I would gradually start to see that it was probably possible that I could still be creative. And then I would start smoking weed again before I really proved to myself.
Yeah,
You know
I'll
what I mean?
reevaluate my relationship. I'll reevaluate my relationship with that when it's legal in my state, our state.
Just like salvia, I was never really addicted to salvia, but there was a period of time when the salvia reality was more real than all of the other multiple normal realities that I currently inhabit since stopping smoking salvia.
I watched like just enough salvia diary videos that I will never ever inflict it upon myself.
I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna get some and I'm gonna grow it and I'm gonna take it orally. Smoking it's too much, but
Have you ever seen? It's by the channel Let's Go to Class. Have you ever seen Driving on Salvia Extended
classic.
Edition?
Today on that episode of Weird Studies that dropped yesterday, J.F. Martel described smoking salvia as like smoking a plastic chair, and I've never heard anything so accurate. And also, probably a plastic chair was what I was sitting in the first time I smoked it. If you're listening and you want to listen to a great podcast episode, go listen to the Weird Studies Christmas bonus, which dropped yesterday. It's about the Adventure Time episode Pahoy, salvia, and a little bit the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. 3 things that I love, or at least have learned something from. Okay, in real talk, I've only done salvia like 3 or 4 times, but
It seems like it's just like green PCP.
green PCP.
Yeah, which is, I don't know. I'm sure that's just like my scaredy brain talking.
More like brown PCP.
Is it brown?
I don't know. The one that you buy looks like black or brown. Like it looks like when those like rubber mats that have like the tire like texture on
I
them.
just assumed it was like a leaf. I don't know.
It looks like that the tiny black stuff that like if you were on a field of AstroTurf, it would come up between the fake grass, like the tiny little black pieces of like shredded tires. That's what salvia looks like when you buy it. It is a leaf, but it looks like shredded tires when you buy it in the head shop.
Oh, so it's like the potting soil that you get like prepackaged.
It kind of looks, yeah, it looks like dry potting soil.
Okay, I
Exactly,
see.
like a very dried out potting soil.
So it's
flaky.
a puck.
Like mulch. Like it's
Yeah.
in a circle and it's loose and it's it's tiny pieces of shredded leaf, but it just looks like rubber to me when you like it looks like a rubbery plastic.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I get it. I'm still never gonna try it. It seems awful. Seems so awful. Unless it's like $2, I'm not gonna do it.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna-
not. It's expensive. But if I do actually, my New Year's resolution this year is to purchase and grow some salvia.
Take salvia every day.
No, but to have some.
Okay.
So here's this.
So-
Yeah.
Well, fine. Go ahead.
Here's the things that I did this year that I haven't been able to do in the past when I've been on unemployment, and that I think were somehow because of COVID in a weird way. I started playing the banjo. I stopped smoking weed. I stopped smoking tobacco. I started keeping a dream journal. That's about everything. That's pretty much everything in my life that has changed. Oh, and I don't drink caffeine after like 5 o'clock anymore. I used to do that all the time. I used to just not sleep sometimes, like until 5 o'clock in the morning. Like a year ago, I still had it pretty bad. It was rough.
I think I've become hooked on melatonin.
Yeah,
That's rough.
that shit's strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm like learning to read over again.
Yes, learning to read. What is with
Yeah.
that, Randy? Why did like Why was reading so hard for so long?
It's because you learn to hate it in school. Like, simple as, like, all you ever read in school is a bunch of stuff that you don't want to read. So, even more than learning to read, like, I am having to learn how to, like, not read a chapter 3 times before I move on to the next one because I'm not comprehending everything.
I know. You're speaking to deep within me.
I'm also learning, like, I'm unlearning. One of my biggest problems as a kid when it came to reading was I literally would judge books by their covers. And I had like an idea that is like extremely cringe to me now about what cool was when I was a kid. And so like I don't know, like I'm also having to learn to judge books by their content all over for the first time. I'm like almost excited to like write a book report or something when I read a book now.
Yeah.
Because like I want to like express what I feel about it.
Yep.
Which is like even a year ago, like I don't think I could have been like critical without being like, I don't know, like an album reviewer on Reddit or something. Like I don't think I would have had the wherewithal to be critical about something in like a thorough way.
Yeah.
I still am learning to like, I mean, I just mentioned it last week, but like I need to pick up a book and finish it if I'm enjoying it. I need to not drop it for the next book that comes across my doorstep.
Yeah, I have that too, where like there's a book that's been sitting on my nightstand for a while.
I feel like I have to make up so much like lost reading time.
Right, like you feel the weight of like the rest of the book, like. Are you saying like you feel like you have to make up for the time you've lost in the past few years of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I haven't bothered to read.
Now I understand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I tried for a while to like replace books with audiobooks, and it's like it's not for me. I don't like audiobooks. It's the same. I have the exact same problem with audiobooks that I have with Kindle, which is that like the weight of the book really adds to the experience of reading. The same reason why like, I don't know, like French press coffee tastes a lot better than coffee from the Keurig, even if I was just to like dump the K-cup out into the French press and make coffee that way, like it'd be better because I had to like push on the handle and everything. There's something like super satisfying about the visceral feeling of reading a book that I've like learned to appreciate again this year.
It's kind of like why it's more fun to make music with a physical device, even though computers exist and you can do it all on the computer.
It's been so long since I've like opened FL Studio to make music. I like don't even want to anymore. I'm so far past wanting to do that.
The only desire I have related to music is to play my banjo 95% of the time. Every once in a while you'll catch me edit something. But yeah, I like even like my physical electronic music gear I don't touch ever.
I want to learn to play my melodica like well. I have 2 now, so like I kind of have to. The spit valve on my green one is broken, so it's just got a pool of spit in it. Okay, so you don't seem like you have much of a relationship with New Year's resolutions, right?
No, my like acts of will are of a different sort. They tend to be slow and creeping and require very gradual nurturing and lots of dumb hope.
Is New Year's like a solemn time for you then?
No, it's like when my mental calendar resets and I go back to the top of the game board.
Hmm. This is gonna be like
Yeah.
a nice New Year's, like a refreshing New Year's, because I don't have to pretend like I want to go to a party this year. What's the worst thing that people do on New Year's?
Um, it's not just that they drink a lot. It's just the sort of things that they think they want to do while they're drunk are
Okay.
ridiculous a lot of the
I
time.
think dropping the ball is stupid. The entire world would have more fun with piñatas. There's so much better things you can do than just dropping the ball on New Year's.
Yeah, the whole ball drop thing is I loved it as a kid, and then there was one year when I like hadn't thought about it, and then somebody made fun of it, and after that, never this like I never that like by the time that it came around again that year, I was like, this is stupid, and the magic had completely been like removed from it. I don't remember when that was. It wasn't that long ago though. Um, it's dumb.
Do you think it's
It's
like
dumb.
just residual resentment from finding out that Santa's not real, like 6 days earlier? Because it's less than a week later. Like you're like still you're bummed about like the anti-magic of Christmas, and
And you're saying that's why we hate the ball dropping?
no, I think that's why like New Year's is like kind of shitty.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
For me, I stopped caring about New Year's probably about the same time that I found out Santa wasn't real.
Okay. I didn't really have the satisfaction of finding out that Santa wasn't real. I had to like kind of. It was one of those things that I was like myself was divided. I like knew that he wasn't real, but the belief part of me didn't want to like I didn't want to let that die.
I found out in the most classic way, which was seeing my mother write Santa on a present.
I remember like my dad was telling Lydia about it, and she was like, "Wait, Santa isn't real." And I must have been 12, and Dad was like, "You know it, right, Leo?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was the first time I had to admit it out loud because I knew, but I didn't want to like. And then he was like, "Yeah, it's just like the Easter Bunny," and she was like, "What? The Easter Bunny isn't real either." So it was like a double for her.
Dude, thank God the Tooth Fairy is real, or my childhood would have been just chock full of lies.
Oh, I know.
I'm counting on the Tooth Fairy. I think I've got a loose tooth.
I just bought one of those vibrating toothbrushes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Tooth Fairy would have to say. I hadn't even thought about it.
I mean, if the movie where The Rock was the Tooth Fairy has anything to say about it, I think she's pretty conservative about.
Wait, she's literally she's the Grim Reaper, but just for teeth. I just realized that.
Well, she's not
That's
that
weird.
grim. I mean, she leaves dollars behind.
Well, she's solemn. Maybe
I mean,
I think. I don't know.
She's
Is she?
definitely a capitalist.
She kind of is, isn't she?
Yeah.
There's like a farm, like a field of some kind of grain, and it like corresponds with the area of our pillow, and like the tooth under our pillow is like this like offering. It's like an offering conjured in magic by the people that live in the other plane that somehow is connected to the our bed, and the field is the pillow again. So like they bury it in the field, and the tooth fairy putting money there in exchange is like it's like the harvest, the successful harvest. Just some food for thought.
Good luck chewing it with all your missing teeth, Tooth Fairy cucks.
Maybe that's the real reality. And what we are is just some kind of epiphenomenon, some kind of, bullshit Aristotle allegory of the cave shadow on the wall kind of thing. Wait, is that Plato? No, sorry. The Plato is Plato. The allegory of the cave, yeah.
Big if true.
Still can't get that shit straight. Who cares who it is?
Well, we know about the tension between Socrates and Plato.
Yeah. Oh, God, somebody should do a
They're all the same to me.
you know who could have made a lot of money selling his bathwater
I don't know. I don't want to know.
on OnlyFans?
I don't want to know.
I don't know. Who do you think would have made more money?
Jesus
Plato,
Christ.
Aristotle, Socrates?
Thank God this is the topic.
I feel like Epicurus would have made a lot of money selling his bathwater.
I feel like Epicurus's would be the least desirable of all of them.
Who's the one who said Eureka in the bath?
I don't know.
Who was that asshole?
This is your tangent. I don't have the answers. Who's
Okay. Tangent over.
Which one of them said "Let there be light"?
That was whoever invented language.
Oh,
that was like the
that's
first
right.
person who could speak.
That
It
was
like,
that Babylonian king that stuck the kids in the room all by themselves.
It was just some kind of like savant kid who had some kind of glossolalia disorder.
Yeah.
Let's get our Patreon rolling in the new year. That's my actual New Year's resolution that I think is important. And get some writing going.
And with that swift return to the topic, why do people feel the need to commit to things on New Year's? Because it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's like completely arbitrary. Like somebody decided to start counting it at some point, and that's when it starts. I mean, unless there is a scientific basis for this, but I don't argue about science. Ever. I don't ever argue about science and what it is.
If you want like a fragmentary answer to your question.
Yeah, okay.
I looked.
Why not?
I don't know. I just saw something on the History Channel website, which always.
Oh, yes, the notoriously reliable History Channel.
Yes.
Purveyors of ancient aliens.
Yes, easy breezy, beautiful History Channel.
And shout out to Young Thug.
So yeah, it was basically it's like the oldest one that we know of is the Babylonians, and it was these ideas about debt cancellation.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Not just the origin of New Year's resolutions.
Okay, I thought you were going to be talking about like why January 1st is the new year. Okay.
No, I have that too.
understand.
I have that too, but it was actually like March something,
facts,
and it was the time of crop planting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, let's plant our crops, let's cancel the debts. I feel like, and there was this idea of like, I think, the debt to the landowners, the debt to the king, the debt to the gods, like canceling the debts, bringing things back to balance. New Year's resolutions are part of that.
Interesting.
David Graeber had a lot to say about debts and the idea of a divine debt. And that's a book that I read this year was, what's it called? Debt, the First 5,000 Years. I'll plug it again. Great book.
We are going to do an episode
anyways,
involving
yes,
that book
we are
as
going to do
well.
an episode on that. I'm not going to talk about that right now, though. Anyways, it just made me think of it. So the Romans, though, I think it was Caesar who was like January 1st is the beginning of the year. I don't know. Janus, however you want to pronounce it. Depends on what, how accurate you want to be. He was like the god of doorways or something, and there's a symbolism of him looking back into the past and looking forward. He inhabits doorways. I just had this image when I was reading about this of like standing in a doorway and looking up at the doorway itself over your head and seeing the inside and the outside.
That's like suitably poetic for a Caesar.
Yeah, it's good. It's the kind of stuff that I like. It's why I'm glad that I did 30 seconds of research on this, to read that.
Oh, he has like two phases. Yeah, one looks forward and one looks back. Interesting.
He's two faces. It's really cool that the Romans had two-faced gods and stuff. Love it. Love to see it.
Yeah, pagans have us beat.
They do. That's why in January, I think that's why they decided January was going to be the new year, the Romans. It was the symbolism of that month, which already was the month of Janus or Janus. So Janus, I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Janus.
Yeah, Janus, yeah. Yeah, it's tight. That's cool. So why don't people keep their promises? Why don't people keep their promises? It's like, to me, the reason I say things that I don't follow through with, except I did fully intend on following through with my last resolution, but once again, the universe saw fit to preserve the integrity of the whatever music scene exists here. I don't know. For me, it's just wishful thinking. I don't think I'm like lying to myself. I think I'm just like not being honest with myself when I make certain resolutions, like, I don't know, losing weight or quitting smoking or whatever I do. I don't know. I mean, last week I was thinking like maybe my resolution should be to read more often. Maybe I'll read like a book every 2 weeks or something. I'm like, the second that I tell myself I have to do it is when I'm not going to have fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason, like, I don't ever say I'm going to lose weight as my New Year's resolution. Like, if I'm going to lose weight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, like, a terrible flu, and I'll lose, like, 100 pounds in a week, and it'll take me years to put it back on, and that's what I'll do. Just like the last time I lost a bunch of weight. I lost enough weight that it took me years to put it back on, and now I'm back to my old fat. So I just have to get sick again. But for me, yeah, it's wishful. I like to believe, and I hope that it's wishful thinking and not like lying to myself about what I think I'm capable of. I assume that's true for most people as well. I mean,
I don't know, lying to yourself
yeah,
it's not the same thing as like lying to other people a lot of the time. You know,
no, it's not even close.
It's tricky.
It's actually harmful.
It's actually harmful, but it's also like easier to do.
Oh my God, so much. I do it every day.
And sometimes you don't know whether a thing is a lie or not. And a big part of like the process of living is like figuring out which things that you tell yourself are lies and which things are truth.
You know,
there were times in my life when I felt like I had a better handle on that than I do now. But I also feel like I'm learning more than I was then. So it's one of those things.
Another thing that I'm like grateful for like this year for is just something that quarantine made me do is like really, really in a super intense way appreciate my own hygiene. Because like there have been times like in my recent history where I'll like, you know, I skip a shower for a day and then I'm like, I get to the end of day 2 and I'm like, I could go another day. And at this point in my life, I cannot do that. I cannot ever justify not brushing my teeth just because, like, I didn't eat what amounts to, like, handfuls of raw sugar. So another thing that, like, this year has taught me is, like, doing things for yourself. And, like, for me, like, hygiene is, like, a thing that I do for me and not, like, something I do for other people in the way that it was in, like, high school.
Doing things for yourself.
Yeah. And hygiene is the most important one. Like, this is, like, the year that I figured out, like, you know, what my scent is. Like, you know, this is a year where I figured out, like, I like... You know, I can use certain kinds of deodorants and others I can't because, like, the white powdery ones, like, are bad for me. I don't know. I've like, COVID has led to, like, the most, like, growth year for me. And it's going to be interesting to see what next year is. I'm looking forward to, because at this point, like, another thing that this year has taught me is that, like, I cannot ever anticipate what happens in a year anymore. I can't guess. The most, like, visceral thing that got me there was, have you seen those, explaining the pandemic to my past self videos from, Julie Nolke?
No.
They're really good. And the first one is, it's like her in April and she goes back and like she has to do like the time travel paradox thing where she has to say everything without saying anything. And like the Australian wildfires happened this year. And then April Julie is surprised by that when she hears that from January Julie. Like the joke of that is that January Julie is like, I really think the Australian wildfires are going to be like the defining tragedy of this year. And then it's a pandemic. And then the next episode is like Black Lives Matter summer Julie talking to pandemic spring Julie. And this one is like drunk winter Julie, like bemoaning the end of quarantine and having to stop doing the videos because she doesn't have to explain the pandemic anymore. Because we have a vaccine now. Which we'll see. Unfortunately, I think we're in post-vaccine America already because nobody's going to fucking take it.
I don't think that vaccine's going to save us as quick as...
nobody believes in vaccines anymore.
People, yeah. The big thing for me, the eye opener for me, I was just talking about this with my friend. I have one friend and it's not you. That's right, Randy.
Yeah, I like it that way.
And I was like reflecting on the fact that like when I had to work at a cafe that was inside of a hospital a few years ago, I had to get a flu vaccine, right? And I was glad, free flu vaccine, didn't have to plan it, anything like that. But I got asked right before the nurse put it in my arm. The nurse said to me, like, do you want the regular vaccine or like the organic one without any mercury or whatever? And I was like, just the regular one. And there was some kind of implication that obviously like the regular one it wasn't, I mean, she knows and I know that there's nothing wrong with the regular one, that there being mercury in a thing doesn't mean that you're going to get mercury poisoning and all that bullshit.
If you're worried about that, like, what you should do is like stay away from fish.
Yeah. So that I was telling my friend about it. My friend was like, well, if it gets people to take them, maybe it's worth it. And I'm like, yes, maybe. And then you can't just appease people. That's all. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is like, no, what we have to do is teach people to like understand truth.
Yeah.
Like that's like the challenge. That's like the challenge of next year is like, let's see how far we can get with that.
There's also this shit about that vitamin D going around, which I talked to my friend about it, who's a med student who I hadn't talked to in years.
Why are people taking their vitamins anyway? Right.
Well, the thing was like, if you got COVID and you died or got really sick, it's because you didn't have enough vitamin D. That's not
a good answer.
It's not true.
It's not even a good lie.
I mean, there's one study that it correlated them, but the thing is, the origin of this isn't the one study where people were like, oh, look at this. The origin of this is like just pseudoscience blogs. As far as I can tell. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe I'll be happy if I'm proven wrong, and it's that easy.
I want to see if Alex Jones is selling vitamin D. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
I just want to see. Because I know... I wonder if he got his like fake medicine selling from Joe Rogan. Because I used to be into Joe Rogan's fake medicine.
What did Joe Rogan sell?
Well, you used to take it all the time too. Like that Good Brain or whatever.
I took Good Brain.
Yeah,
like fish oil.
No, it was like the Good Brain, the big brain stuff that I bought. I don't know.
Oh, did you give me some of that?
Yeah.
Oh.
You would take it like every time we hung out together. Yeah.
I forgot about that, Randy.
Yeah.
The Galaxy Brain.
Dude, it's because it fucking put a hole in my memory. I'm sure it did it to yours too.
It's probably just sawdust.
I hope it wasn't sawdust, dude. That would be gross.
It was like sawdust from when they built, from like whatever house Joe Rogan was already probably having built.
It'd be gross.
Financed by Spotify.
Hey, speaking of Joe Rogan, Spotify, where's our 100 million, bro?
Yeah.
What about our contract?
Yeah, you want the content? You're going to have to give us the contract.
Yeah.
Did you know that attention-onions are currency?
There's another episode that we have to do this year. What else is the new year about? New Year's about making resolutions. It's like a cosmic attempt to teach lessons about hubris. Turns us all into Icarus. What else does it do?
Turns us all into Icarus.
Yeah.
Turns us all into Sisyphus. Like, we think like, what we see is Sisyphus, what others see is Icarus. It's like one of those memes where it's like, yeah.
Dude, shout out to classical Greek memes for Hellenistic teens or whatever that Twitter account is. Great account.
When life hands you onions, make resolution.
Oh, yeah. Should we explain what, like, onions are to the people?
Oh, yeah. Why do we keep doing that?
Yeah, like the onion the onion suffix. Yeah. It's just like anytime that you can take an opportunity to like look at the layers of something is
Yeah, you've seen Shrek.
You've
seen Shrek.
Yeah, but don't think about Shrek. Shrek sucks.
We're giving you like a cultural touchstone that you can that allows you to use this idea of the onion and the layers completely laundered of any Shrek baggage.
If you don't know what an actual onion is, but you do know what ogres are. actual onions are a lot like ogres. But these onions are like, it's just like anytime that you like have an opportunity to like peel back the layers of something that ends with Tion, you can make it an onion. A revolution onion is when like we solve the mystery of Mount Shasta and then lose the audio. A resolution onion is when like you stop to analyze your own New Year's resolution and try to figure out why you're making it so you can actually solve your problems instead of by making an empty promise to yourself. What are the other ones? The revelation onion. Have we done that one? The revelation onion.
The revelation onion is where it all started.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Randy peeled back the layer on that one. That was the most self-referential one.
It did start from a typo, yeah, that nobody would know about unless they were reading our text. So the resolution onion.
What is it? The CDC? Oh no, the CIA. I don't know.
I don't know.
NSA. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is definitely reading our text messages.
Yeah.
They're the dominant government.
Well, we cured COVID in them.
In 2020.
Why wouldn't they?
That's true. That's true. That's true, everybody.
It's whoa. So the resolution onion. Why do we make promises to ourselves in place of actually doing things? Is it because we don't want to actually do them? We just want to say that we're thinking about it? Is that what it is? Is it that we do want to do it, but we don't want to, like... We're not able to get things done without, like, saying it out loud that we're going to do it and having, like, pressure every time we don't? Or is it just like a statement of intent for some people? I'm sure it is.
Some people, yeah.
I'm sure it is.
I think a lot of people really do just benefit from saying things. The magic of statements, the magic of words, and like
it's very earthsea.
Like saying makes doing. Yeah, exactly. But then there's other people where it's like the Protestant work ethic. It's just like if I say it, it'll become real, and I can put it on my back to carry it around with me. If other people see me carrying it around, that'll be a satisfaction enough for me to better myself enough to actually do something fruitful with this burden. I think there is a little bit of that. People think that burdening themselves is a virtue in itself, and like, I'm not saying that any individual person thinks that, but I think all of us think that other people think that. Probably some people do think that.
Yeah, well, it is very like Sisyphean, isn't it?
Yep.
And not in the way that, like, Camus maybe thinks that it is.
Maybe it's more like the Andrew Bird song.
Did I tell you that Andrew Bird is, like, one of the lead cast members in the new season of Fargo?
Yes.
He's the dad of the main character. It was so weird. I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. And that somewhere ended up being the myth of Sisyphus. I want to do an episode about the myth of Sisyphus as well. Because that's like the recurring theme of Fargo over 4 seasons is the myth of Sisyphus.
That's cool. I'm excited to watch Fargo. I know you've been telling me to watch Fargo since before you had any faith that I would ever take a recommendation from you, but I think I will watch Fargo.
Yeah. I mean, if you're smart.
Lift the embargo. Just watch
If you
Fargo.
know what's good for you. That's pretty good.
Mac DeMarco.
You can skip the first season. It like doesn't really matter.
My daughter's name is Margot.
Don't say Mac DeMarco. Don't say Mac DeMarco on my podcast.
Sorry. Donnie Darko.
Posting cringe on Maine.
The tempo is Largo.
Okay. We have to actually do this.
Yeah.
We're just making editing for me now.
I don't think we should edit this one much. I think the free-flowing nature of the conversation is fit. It fits the topic well.
I think this one almost demands it at this point.
I hope that you mean that you agree with me and not that you're going to chop it all up.
We'll see what I mean tomorrow afternoon. I don't know. Unless you just hold out your audio until the last second so I don't have time. That could be a strategy that you use. You're going to filibuster my editing? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to filibuster your editing.
You're just trying to, like, return to the topic after you get me off topic.
Yep.
You bastard.
It's my way of, like, chaotically maintaining extreme control over the topic. I just want to say that a lot of seeds have been planted this year, both personally for me and just in the world. And not all of them are the seeds of good things. It's kind of menacing.
I'm gonna make that the title of this podcast just so that I can copyright it.
Fuck you. No, this title is gonna be called "Peeling Back the Resolution."
Okay, yeah, it has planted the seeds of a lot of good and bad things.
The bulbs, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started a podcast. Personally speaking, that's cool. I'm really happy that we did this.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it yet. But
so now we have to do a good thing.
That's how I think all famous people feel. They get a lot of money.
We are famous, yeah.
From trash. The problem is that you don't have to be famous to feel that way. Just check out YouTube.
Yeah, that's actually another teaser for an episode that we're going to do this coming year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's planted the seeds of a lot of good and bad things.
Yeah.
I think this year has, like, really shown how unwilling people are to do easy things, and instead they, like, actively go out of their way to make life harder. I think that, like, I don't know, it's like a good year to be a Taoist, I guess.
That's really that speaks to me on the level of something that happened to me today, but also just so much in general.
Hit me.
I was on the phone with somebody today, and they were mad. I'm a contact tracer, right? And they were mad at me that no one had called them sooner. It was 3 days in or whatever, 4 days in, and they were like telling me at the end, they were like, "I'm not going to participate in follow-ups," and I'm like, "Well, somebody's going to follow up with you on the phone if you don't answer the texts." And they were like, they said to me like, "Well, then maybe you should ask them what they were thinking when they waited 5 days to call me." And it's just like, dude, they weren't thinking anything. But now's your chance to think about whether it's better to get back at an impersonal bureaucracy by not having somebody in your family, be monitored by the health department, or like just accept the fact that they're behind and let them be, let it start 5 days late.
Yeah, I mean, they fully did it to themselves.
Yeah, this is literally, yeah, like, I wanted to say, like, if your child was sick, right, and needed to go to the hospital, and the ambulance came, it would have been better if the ambulance came sooner, but there was a traffic jam and a bunch of other people were hurt on the way. The ambulance gets there 15 minutes later than you would expect it to. Are you gonna who are you helping by saying like, no, like you missed your chance, you can't take my daughter to the hospital? I know that I raised the stakes in this example, but do you see what I'm saying? I feel like there's been a lot of that shit going on.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing that, like, people get mad at the firefighters for being late when their house burns down. But what they really wanted was that for the firefighters to be there before the fire started.
And if you look at who we can't be mad at, I think it tells you a lot. The unsolved mystery of the death of Heidi Allen. Why did the family accept that Gary Thibodeau did it?
Because they got an answer.
Because they got an answer. And who would have had to been wrong if Gary Thibodeau was innocent? Like, think about all the people who would have had to been wrong. All of them are either cops or, like, either are still cops or were cops at the time.
They all are wrong, for sure.
Yeah, they all are wrong. You can't...
Didn't he die, or was that his brother?
He died. His brother just got his van back, apparently.
That is probably the last thing he wants. What a fucking roast on him.
He got the van back? Yeah, he painted it immediately. He painted it red.
I would chop it up. Like Thumperstein did to Heidi Allen.
Yeah. Anyways, my mom's on that podcast, apparently. She's interviewed.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mentioned it to her, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm on
I
that.
hate it. I hated that podcast.
I didn't try listening to it. That's too bad.
It's not fun. I unsubbed. Couldn't get through it.
Well, I guess it's wide open for us to take a crack at it at some point. That is something I really do want to do, is like do the Heidi Allen podcast and do it well.
Yeah, our Easter special.
That's right.
Our Easter extravaganza.
If that's really going to be our Easter special, then the realistic thing to do is for us to do only easy episodes all the way until Easter so that we can study all the time for it.
No, we can't. We can't do Heidi Allen for Easter. Jesus.
To be honest, Randy, I forgot that it was a joke because I've heard you say it
Jesus
so many
Christer.
times. Jesus Christ.
Creaster.
Jesus Christer.
No, yeah, it is a joke.
You should have. You know what we could have done? You know how we did Star Wember for December?
No.
What if we had done like a or what if the theme, if the theme of December had been January, we could have called it Januwember.
No, remember we're doing M. Night Shyamalan-uary?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the twist is that we don't actually talk about M. Night Shyamalan.
If the theme, I'm gonna push this joke all the way through to the finish line.
Fine.
If we had done a December special of 4 episodes where we like talked about the sort of the hypothetical world where we do a January 4-part special on M. Night Shyamalan's movies, we could have called it M. Night Shyamalan-uember.
That would suck.
That was hard to say. God, I'm sorry, Randy.
Yeah. Dude, that was hard to listen to.
What was I doing that for? I think in 2021,
Only for yourself.
I'd like to figure out how to stop making jokes like that.
Let's not make any unrealistic promises going into the new year.
Okay.
That's like your entire personality.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, that's how I engage with the world, I think.
Don't be rash.
I can't be rash.
All right. What else is there to say about New Year's? It's like, what? So what did you land on? Well, I guess you don't have the same kind of relationship with New Year's as I do, because I do make the promise every year that I don't keep, and or can't keep, like, as a possibility. I guess you have a different relationship with New Year's. I mean, do you plan on changing that? Do you plan on, like, doing a resolution?
This year? Well, there's one thing I want to do, and that is learn Armenian, because it's very likely that I will go to Armenia with Hosmic. Yeah, obviously it was a bad year for the people of Artsakh, and like, there's a lot of shit going on in Armenia, and a lot of Armenians just feel like, where was the world during this war? And, yeah, it's not clear what's going to happen in 2021, but there's tens of thousands of people who have no home right now because Artsakh got conquered by Azerbaijan. It's just a thing that I needed to mention because it keeps popping into my mind, and I needed to acknowledge it because it was a big part of the year for Hosmic and me indirectly and a lot of people, and I just like needed to mention it. Because that's something that I'm going to be thinking about a lot this year. And I don't know exactly how that's going to play into my year or the years of so many people, more importantly, who are directly affected by that. COVID. Will there still be COVID in a year? There literally might be COVID forever. It might be like the flu now.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we had SARS, which was COVID. So that's something to look forward to in the new year. What's your, I don't know, where are you at, like, in terms of things you've got lined up for the new year?
I want to get better at what's it called? The kind of the hygiene stuff you were talking about, like I've never been horrible, but like there are periods where I like, for whatever reason, I do that thing where I like go a few days without showering and I just don't feel good. I feel constantly a little gross. I've gotten better at cleaning just recently. I feel like more initiative to just clean my space. I've gotten better at cleaning virtually. I've had periods of time this year, starting in the summer, but pretty consistently, where I'll sit down and go through old audio, figure out what to delete, old video, old images, figure out what to delete, what to save, in a way that I never have before. And like I'll spend hours doing it. And it's related. It's where the impetus to do that in my physical space is also, I think, coming out of. Um, I wanna actually like make the space around me cleaner and better. And looking around this room, I have a long way to go, but it's getting somewhere.
I want to make some decent money going into the next year because this was a bad year for like increasing my net worth. I mean, it's poised to like make for a good year at some point, but it like relies upon my ability to like decide that I'm gonna work hard, which is like not something I'm interested in generally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I'm like I'm like the exact reason that UBI is not going to happen in this country because I will be content with it as long as it's like viable. I have like a dream of like a minimalist like spaceship bedroom that I want when I am in like a decent place.
You've been talking about moving to a city at some point. Do you have dreams about any particular cities?
I mean, I love the idea of Portland. I don't know how much I love the idea of having to negotiate my way across the country one way or another. I mean, I've never been on a plane. I don't know if you know that about me.
I didn't know that about you.
I've never been on a plane. I literally have no idea how I would move more than like a suitcase's worth of my things across the country. I literally don't have like a concept of how that would work. Another thing that I struggle with is with the idea of like, as much as I do want to be on the other coast, well, one of the other two coasts, like how do I get back if there's like trouble? I don't know how quickly. Again, it's just another symptom of never having been on a plane. I don't know how quickly I can like procure a plane ticket.
Oh, instantly, depending on the time of year. Depending on the time of year, you might not even be paying more for it. Also, in a rush situation, but you can procure a plane ticket instantly from a large city.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, yeah, moving. I mean, I don't like plan on it. It would make work a lot more difficult unless I got a different job. Although I suppose the West Coast is probably a better place to sell solar.
Probably. There's probably, I mean,
there's more sun over there.
More solar, more companies doing it, more grants, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would like to have like $20,000 in the bank before I think about changing my life situation in a big way. Like $5,000 is enough to like change it in a small way.
Yeah.
And like that's also like super attainable. I don't know. I could. The thing about the job I have now is like I could feasibly like I could make $20,000 in a week. Like possibly. So that'd be tight. $500,000 a year would be cool.
Jesus.
I mean, I hope it wouldn't make me like less of a leftist than you.
You go under the Leo line. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to like turn into a capitalist. Is something else I worry about whenever I think about like making actual money.
This weird thing of like, what is that? Yeah, what does that mean? What does it mean to have that responsibility of like I have this income also now? Like, can you even get to the point where you have to make that choice without losing something?
That's why I so much love the idea of like good UBI. Like I don't want luxuries. I don't like have any need for like Jordans. I have a pair of Jordans, and it's exactly the one I want, and that's it. Like, I don't need, like, a transparent TV that they sell now. I need a PlayStation 5. I do need that because...
Well, that would be part of would be part of the UBI.
Things are getting boring.
Nationalize Sony.
I would get one every month, yeah. Like, imagine getting a $500 check from the government every week.
Fucking...
Or a $1,000 check from the government.
Imagine it.
Dude, nothing has ever been better. I've never had more money coming in than being on fucking unemployment this year. And that's not like... People have a problem with that. A lot of people have a problem with that. A lot of the capitalists here in these states united have a problem with that. And it's like exactly the way it should be. Like, you should have like surplus income rolling in.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. Never ever in your life should there be a question of, like, I do have to think about, like, okay, I've had these clothes for 2 years. I have to have them for another year because I cannot justify, like, a new wardrobe. Not that I particularly care about clothes. My, like, clothes phase is over. I'd always rather wear comfortable clothes than, like, be fashionable.
Even these pants.
But that's also because I
put these pants on today. I'm like,
I work from home and I spend most of my day in front of the computer or in front of the TV.
I wear the same sweater every day. I'll be honest.
I've worn like the same 3 sweaters every podcast because I have like a super
I
consistent
just realized
laundry
if you
schedule.
went back a week, I'd either be wearing this sweater or one other sweater, and I have other sweaters, but
I think you were wearing that one.
I was probably wearing the hoodie that was on the back of this chair all week.
Yeah. So you say you have a goal for 2020. You want to learn to speak Armenian. 2020 is actually the hundreds of hours that it's going to take you to learn to speak a new language at your age.
2020 is what?
Like roughly. It's roughly the number of hours that it's going to take for you to learn to speak a new language at your age. Yeah, so I think for me, my resolution for the new year is like, I don't know, just to be like more aware of myself. Like gain some self-awareness for once. And I would like to make some money as like a goal separate from my resolution. I would like to like buckle down, get more comfortable working. It's been for like the first 3 months of me having this job, it was like no problem for me to sit and like work for 3 hours and make good money. For the last 3 months of this job, it's been like the combination of like a great wave of depression that's been, I think, mostly to do with the fact that I'm like going a little stir crazy, just like not seeing the sun sometimes because I live in the frozen wasteland. And like, I don't know. You know, I bought myself a Camelback for my birthday. I haven't gone hiking this year. I haven't like had like the chutzpah to go hiking this year. Like I haven't had to get up and go. Like I've been tired all year. The only time I wasn't tired was when I was like energized from unemployment and financial security. You know.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I mean, there was a certain point to where I was like, I don't need to look for a job. I'm good. Like, I'm having a good time, which is like something I haven't had in years.
Yep.
And I'm making more money than I ever made working. You know, when I filed for unemployment, which was like I wasn't even gonna do it until you talked me into it.
I'm glad that I talked you
into it.
And I filed.
Yeah, I am too, because they told me I had like $5,000. And that was tight. Yeah, I want to make some fucking money in a year. I'm gonna like go whole dick into the sales side of my job.
Yeah, entire dick right into the. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you're gonna get the certification or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm guessing after January or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, at first I was justifying it by like saying I just would have to do it over again. I literally would just have to like turn around and do it again. And then it was like, I don't want to devote time to this, and like it's a waste of both time and money if I don't. So I might as well just not. But now I'm like, I feel like I'm out of like the honest to God great wave of depression that came about just with the start of the winter and like the end of the summer and everything. And I'm like re-energized. I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's exactly the same as like having low blood sugar to me. Like it was exactly the same as that, where it's not like I wasn't sad. It's been ages since I've been sad. I mean, I guess like, I don't know, when I watched Grave of the Fireflies for the Studio Ghibli episode, it made me sad, but like life sad, it's been a while. But it is just like when you know you have low blood sugar, it's like hard to do stuff. I don't know. It's hard to like do especially because my job like requires ambition. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I satisfied myself, and I did feel like very dowy about my approach to like this particular like depression. I felt like, I didn't try to like fight against it, which like for me always like makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's very dark-sided to like try and fight against it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to like have an opportunity to like make something for myself. It's nice. I mean, it's something that I feel like a lot of millennials like don't get a chance.
It's true.
And I have it, and I should take it.
A lot of the stuff that you're saying is stuff that I've also felt, not recently, but last year was really feeling a lot of that stuff. The whole thing, like, there was a certain depression that I had where I was just like, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And I have to embrace it and see what happens without trying to like preempt it. And it is a different thing.
Yeah, like for me it was like I will take this as a chance to do exactly what I want to do at any given moment. And it honestly, really paid off for me.
Early this summer I was having that, Randy. Early this summer when I didn't have a job, there was a period where I was very much in that headspace. I mean, I don't know if it's like, maybe it's not the same thing. I don't mean to be like...
What, in the depression headspace or like the healthy...
No, the depression headspace of like... But meaning like this is a healthier depression than past depressions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I see what... Yeah. I see.
I felt it coming on, and I felt it...
Yeah. I mean, depression isn't like an inherently bad thing. We make it a bad thing. I have like a worse time with mania. Like, honestly, that's like truly destructive.
You know what I've noticed? I haven't had as many manias either since that last depression.
I haven't experienced it since I stopped smoking weed.
Oh yeah, weed is what does it.
Yeah, it was like never good. Weed mania was never good, and weed depression was bad too.
You always wanted it to be good.
Yeah, but
you always wanted so badly for it to be good.
Dude, I remember like some of the beats I made in like weed haze when I was like 20 or something. It's so awful, and I remember thinking they were good, and like that's something that I think about now, like just when I think about like my relationship with weed and like how I'm going to approach it if it becomes legal in New York this coming year.
Yeah.
Cuomo seems pretty confident, but he's like also like a total dick, so maybe he's just teasing.
Yeah, he's definitely teased before.
He's like, "Hey, New York State's going broke. Now's our chance." It's like, okay, I guess. We'll see. I still don't.
He has this vision of like being a hero, like
Dude,
later than being like.
I think New Jersey just embarrassed him.
He let that happen. That was his fault.
Yeah. Can't he do like an executive order or something? I don't know. No, I'm sure he can't.
What, to like bomb New Jersey?
Sure. Like saw him off.
Like an executive order to just eliminate New Jersey.
Send him back over to regular Jersey.
You know, New Jersey used to be a part of New York State, and they broke it off because it was too hard for the people that lived there to get to Albany. That's at least what I was told in school.
Really?
Yeah.
What school? PAX?
Yeah. Like middle school or something.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I haven't ever like, or I've very seldom tried to verify that fact, but I do remember learning that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's fucking $169 to fly into New Jersey.
Do you know that Nelson Mandela actually died in New Jersey?
Nelson Mandela?
Nelson Mandela.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised though. I mean, I've met people from New Jersey.
Was actually. Never mind. I can't keep this joke up. It's stupid. Everything about the Mandela effect happened in New Jersey. You know why there's so many cars in New Jersey? Because it's the respawn point for the world.
Did you know like Napoleon's brother was like in Jersey?
Who?
Napoleon's brother?
Napoleon's brother?
Yeah, he was like a New Jersey dude for some reason.
What?
Or like one of his descendants or something.
Napoleon's like brother's family lives in New Jersey?
Well, I don't know about now. Let me just see. Let me just see what the actual thing was.
Bonaparte in New Jersey.
Joseph Bonaparte was a French lawyer and diplomat, the older brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, who made him king of Naples and later king of Spain. After the fall of Napoleon, Joseph styled himself as Comte de Servier or something. Where's New Jersey in this?
Where's New Jersey?
Not New Jersey. Joseph lived primarily in the United States, where he sold the jewels he had taken from Spain in the period of 1817 to 1832, initially in New York City and Philadelphia, where his house became the center of activity for French expatriates. But later it moved to an estate formerly owned by Stephen Sayre called Point Breeze in Bordentown, New Jersey. Crazy.
Bordentown, New Jersey.
Dude, that's all of them. Jersey sucks, and Chris Christie is literally an armpit. He's a human belly button.
Does he still have official power in that state? I know he's not governor anymore, but I don't.
Oh, is he still alive? Wow, that's funny. I was genuinely gonna search for Chris Christie, and I just searched COVID.
Wow.
Comical. Chris Christie considering a presidential run in 2024. That's bold of him to assume that he won't have died by then.
That's true. You should always consider that before you make statements about the future.
Especially when you're his size.
Oh, damn. You had to go there.
That's where I was when I said it in the first place.
Okay. I wonder what'll happen to Donald Trump by then.
I hope he's also dead. In a video game.
Yeah. In a video game.
Yeah.
You don't have to say that we're not on Twitch anymore. Hassan's not listening, bro.
Dude, if you think the NSA isn't though, as soon as they hear Trump, they perk up. They point their gun. They point harp right at us.
Listen, NSA, if you're listening,
we like you guys and we appreciate what you do.
Yeah. NSA, can you see? By the dawn's early light.
Can you see what I see?
Yeah.
I couldn't get there this time. I don't
NSA, what I say.
There it is, yeah.
The CDC.
What is the one that everybody thinks is, FEMA. That's the one that everybody thinks is like deep state globalist, brother.
FEMA, what is that one again?
That's like the I don't know, the one that like FEMA camps.
Oh, I don't know.
That's where they turn the frogs gay. Federal
Oh.
Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, okay. I feel like you got that from the EPA's depiction of the Simpsons movie.
They sent death squad.
Or like
No,
the
I
frog
got it
with
from.
a lot of
I got it
eyes.
from. I don't know. No, I got it from Alex Jones.
EPA. When
Eep. My favorite Simpsons bit is when they think there's an alien. They think there's an alien, and it's like totally just like Mr. Burns sleepwalking. It's so funny.
I have not seen that bit. That's
I
pretty
love
good.
The Simpsons.
I was just rewatching old episodes of The Simpsons because I discovered it on Disney Plus, and I was like, let me watch the first season. It was nice. Very
would
unrealistic plotline where Homer becomes the head of an environmentalist movement after becoming a safety activist, and then they cheer for him when he gets bought out by Mr. Burns.
Is that so? Do they have like the weird voice season? Is that it? I mean, I know that the first season is the weird voice season, but is that?
Yeah, it's that season. Yeah, that the episode I'm talking about comes from. It's on.
Can you do an impression of Homer's voice?
Boy.
Boy.
That's like the first season Homer.
Let's see. I love The Simpsons. I wish it was. I hope it's still good. I don't know.
It's not. It's terrible now. You can still watch it, but sometimes barely.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with the person whose YouTube video I watched last week that said it often is borderline unwatchable. It's true. It's real bad. But sometimes it's funny. It's just very rare. People mark season 9, according to this YouTube video I watched, as the downfall, the decline moment. But I don't know enough
Jesus
about
Christ.
it to know if I can agree or not. It's been a lot of seasons. Haven't there
How
been like
many
80
seasons?
seasons? I don't know.
Dude, Jesus Christ, 31, and they stopped being good after 9.
I mean, I think that's
Damn.
a little bit conservative. Honestly, a little bit conservative. I think it was still good after
Yeah,
that.
well, sounds like the internet.
But the whole thing about like the parody aspect of it dying, like when, oh my God, I think I saw this episode too, but the one clip that they highlighted, which I think sums it all up, is when Lisa Simpson goes, "Dad, don't hit Elon Musk or whatever." Like, she says, she goes like, "He's quite possibly the world's greatest inventor," and I'm like, what are you talking about?
That is not the Lisa Simpson.
No,
that
it's
I
like
grew up with.
fake Lisa Simpson. It's the empty signifier Lisa Simpson. That's what they were talking about in this video. It was very good, actually. They were talking about like it was Solar Sands. That's who did it. Shout out to Solar Sands. It was a video about like what it means for like a sign to become just like to be completely divorced from its like from the thing that it signifies. So it was just an empty signifier. And it was just talking about all of the characters as that. All of it just as like things that they started out as a dysfunctional family aimed at critiquing and being honest about critiquing like depictions of families on TV and being honest about families in real life by sort of overcorrecting for that and turned into just another stupid joke about families. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the same thing happened to The Simpsons as like Married with Children or any other sitcom.
That's funny because they
that
talked
starts
about
out good.
Married with Children as the main, I think, counterpoint to the
It
Simpsons
went.
at the time.
It went from Married with Children to like Home Improvement.
Yeah, it happens a lot. SpongeBob too. I mean, SpongeBob didn't have as much to say as The Simpsons, surely, but it was a cartoon that it had an aesthetic, and it had like an aesthetic of humor that it just hasn't had in so long. The humor has been replaced by
favorite is
like
the episode where they
eye
went to the
noises
future.
when they blink and like constant music between every action. That's SpongeBob to me now. That's what I pick up on when I watch it.
I've been watching some Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Just like going through some of my favorite episodes. And I never noticed like all the sound effects
Oh, really?
and like anime stuff that they do, like when Sokka gets mad, like there's like a firestorm behind him sometimes, and there's like this fun sting of like X-Files music when Toph and Katara are having like a spa day. And Toph like does something weird. there's just like a little theremin like leitmotif or something. I don't know what a leitmotif is, really.
You want to know the definition of a leitmotif?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
a motif that represents a character.
I thought you were going to say it doesn't weigh much. Thank God. I thought you were going back to your old way of 40
Somehow
minutes
Wagner
ago.
invented it. I never understood how that could have been only
We're so much
invented in
older now.
Wagner's time. But at least he's the one who did it to the point that it was a meme and it got associated with him and he came up with a word for it.
Well, he invented music.
That's true.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Pierre Boulez certainly knows.
Dude, fuck Pierre Boulez. Gatekeeper. More like Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, more like Crypt Keeper. Good one, Randy. That was
Thanks.
like a genuine good one in a sea of bad jokes.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Literally, I will be here all week.
I'm
don't
not
have a
moving
choice.
from this chair. I'm like
My
what's her
legs
name?
fell asleep. I can't get up.
Mike Mulligan's steam shovel in the book. When in the end of the book she gets turned into a stove.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's like so. The plot.
Only
of the book
steam
is as
shovel I
follows.
know is John Henry.
John Henry. Wait, that was not the right interval. John Henry died with his hammer. Anyways,
I thought you were going to sing Walk On Boy.
no. Similar. I think some of the lyrics overlap though. But
Have you ever heard the Doc Watson version of Walk On Boy?
it's the only one I've heard.
Kind of not entirely comfortable with a song about a black person that uses the word boy, but
Didn't think about that. How could I have not thought about that? It's literally the main.
I
word of the
literally
song.
can't help it
Boy,
anymore.
boy. Says
I'm
over
too
and
woke
over.
for my own good.
Randy, you're too woke. You need to sit down, go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to start watching some Fox News.
Speaking
OAN.
of sitting down, the end of that book, Mike
Which
Mulligan and his steam shovel, Mike
Okay.
Mulligan's steam shovel. His steam shovel is getting outcompeted. It's very much is related to the John Henry theme of machines supplanting
like
yeah.
anti-industrial, like, dude, John Henry is an Anne Prim story. Just remember that.
I don't think it is.
It's,
I think
I'm sure
the
it
story
isn't.
is a bit ambivalent about whether or not progress is good. It's more just that this man was himself the archetype of the hard worker, and like he doesn't gain anything by dying. He doesn't save anybody. He just dies.
Yeah.
So I think it's not an Anne Prim story. I think Anne Prim's probably like it though.
I also
That's
think
why
it's
you
not
like
an
it.
Anne Prim story.
Randy's an Anne Prim.
Kinda, yeah, sure. I'm not gonna disagree with it.
In a video game.
No, not in a video game. In real life, I have Anne Prim tendencies.
What's it called? Mike Mulligan's steam shovel.
Dude, my half of my fucking inspiration for the what is it? Convenience, modernity, and animality is Anne Prim.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's half the idea.
That's good to know. I'm going to come at it.
Isn't that face
What's
value?
that?
Isn't that there on its face? Face value?
I think that taking an Anne Prim lens isn't necessarily there on its face. That's all.
Oh. Because the whole thing about Anne Prim is rewilding and
Yes, but to me, Anne Prim is more than just that. It's also every ideology obviously imports certain myths, right, about the world and people, because they can't cover everything.
I don't know. I think everything's exactly the way
What'd you
I
say?
say it is. I said I don't know. I think everything's
Right.
exactly the way
For example,
I say it is.
a lot of communists and anarchists alike really love talking about specific examples of indigenous American societies that are communist or basically communist and why that is. And but the thing is, they didn't know that much about America at the time. None of them knew about Cahokia. None of them,
I don't know what that means.
That city. I don't want to go too deep into it because the reason is because I definitely I know this about myself. I can never go as deep as I think I can when I start talking. I'll run out of facts in
Dude, that's the whole
2
point of the
seconds.
podcast. That's literally the whole point of the
Depth
podcast.
perception. True to form. I like that. I'm developing some real self-awareness here, guys.
Thank God.
Yins.
Where the hell is Cahokia?
What?
Don't say Yins. This isn't
I think
Philadelphia.
that's Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh.
Oh. Okay, this is going to be funny.
The second person plural in Philadelphia is like Yapple or something.
For the last 30 seconds, I was thinking Philadelphia was the state. It's not.
Are you a Philadelphia Dutch? You ever hear of
Are you going to ask me if I've ever heard of Pennsylvania Dutch?
I was gonna say, you ever heard of Punxsutawney Phil?
You know, I have, and I have no... Is that the groundhog?
Yeah, he's the groundhog. I think Punxsutawney Phil is a living allegory of Jesus' resurrection. He's a Christ metaphor.
It's kind of like a dunk on Jesus, though. It's just a shitty little rat. It says what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, and he's wrong every time. I mean, didn't Jesus make predictions about the
he
weather?
Literally,
what is Revelation?
I don't know.
mean, I guess Jesus didn't say that. It was Saint whatever, but...
Let me flip through the New American Bible.
Yeah, open it up straight up to Revelations. Who is that?
On the way to Rages. I don't know.
St. Paul? St. Peter?
Revelations? I don't know. I've never... That's the first time I've ever opened the Bible.
St. Aloysius.
I have no idea.
That's not the first time you've ever opened the Bible. Shut up. Don't make people think.
Saint El Delicious.
El Delicious. El Barto.
It might be. No, you know, I've opened some Gideon's Bibles before, I guess, looking for money.
I thought that you were telling me that you've read the Quran and the Bible.
No, I own the Quran and the Bible.
You've read the Psalms.
What I have read.
You've opened the Bible.
No, I haven't, because I have a book of Psalms.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh, you cheated it. You cheated.
No, I didn't.
You cheated the Bible.
No, I didn't. It's not cheating.
The Bible is a library. I know.
Take all but one syllable away from that, and yes.
The Bible is a libraire.
Yeah, that's the one I meant. You know what I have read is the Dalai Lama's Book of Wisdom.
Cool.
Has a weird picture of Tenzin Gyatso on it.
What's he doing? I can't see.
He's just making like a pogo. Look at the camera. He's literally doing like pog.
Aw, he's smiling.
He's so cute. I want to just kiss him on his forehead.
And someday
Maybe that would
maybe you can
open
someday.
Maybe that would open his third eye.
I could see like a Dalai Lama does like a forehead kiss tour, where like he just goes around and lets everyone kiss him on the forehead.
You know what I would love? I would love it if they could find the pension Lama.
The pension Lama?
The pension Lama, yeah. Panchen.
I thought you said pension, like he's like a
No.
like a for rent.
Nope.
That's what China wants.
China wants you to forget about the pension Lama. Panchen Lama.
Pension? That's okay, I didn't know the word, but I do know who you're talking about though.
Yeah.
I'm aware that he's thinking of passive aggressively not reincarnating in order to spite China, which I think is probably the right move if they keep doing what they're doing.
Well, no, like the current pension Lama was kidnapped and has never been seen.
That's right.
He was taken by China at 6.
That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah. Not been seen publicly since 1995. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
That poor kid. So, fun fact. The Dalai Lama's name. What is he, the 14th? Yeah. 14th Dalai Lama's name, Tenzin Gyatso.
Yeah.
Aang's teacher
Monk Gyatso.
was Monk Gyatso. Aang's son, Tenzin. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep. I think the Dalai Lama gets a bad rap.
Does he? Most people seem to say nice things.
Well, he was getting roasted about saying, like, people misinterpreting his statements about English, or statements about women, because they were, like, badly translated into English. Even though his sentiment is, like, totally obvious.
I don't know about this. I missed this.
He was like, you know, in the modern world, like, if you're a woman, like, you have to be beautiful or nobody wants to hear from you. And people were like, oh, the Dalai Lama is saying that unless you're a beautiful woman, you, like, don't belong. It's like, no, idiot. What he's saying is, like, nobody cares. Like, the world does not take you serious as a woman if it's not, like, about being good looking.
That's... What do they, like, translate it as should instead of have to or some shit?
I don't know. I mean, if you want me to pull it up, I can pull it up.
I believe you. That's stupid. Cancel Tenzin Gyatso.
Yeah, so what he said was that a female successor, if he had a female successor, she would have to be attractive to be taken seriously.
Oh, I do remember this. Yes, I remember this.
Yeah. And, like, I'm like, I know this is, like, him just being, like, he has to be extra Buddhist, but he apologized about it. I think he doesn't know that people misinterpreted what he said. That's fine, though. This literally, we have not done the topic. Why don't we stop recording? Okay. Do you have any last words?
At this time next year, I'm going to be some kind of salvia deity. Not really. I don't know what's
maybe a salvia demon. I don't know.
What's next year going to be like? I literally can't imagine, because this year felt like some kind of weird special space on a very confusing game board that I didn't know I was.
It feels like March. It feels like March to me.
It feels like March?
Yeah.
I have that dislocation in time thing sometimes with certain years, but I very much thought about whether or not it was happening this year, and I do not have it. I don't feel like it's March. I feel like I'm squarely in the end of December. What makes you feel like it's March?
I don't know. Life has been pretty stagnant for most of the year.
Oh, right. March is where all this stuff happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having, like, shout out to Punxsutawney Phil. I'm having a Groundhog Day moment. The Bill Murray movie and not the actual day.
If Jesus is Punxsutawney Phil,
who's Bill Murray?
Who's Bill Murray?
He's Pontius.
No, he's the demiurge.
He's biggest dickus.
Bill Murray is the demiurge.
I don't know what the demiurge.
If Jesus is Punxsutawney Phil, then Bill Murray is the demiurge. The demiurge is like the half worker. He's like the lower manifestation of God in Gnostic Christianity, who, like.
Oh, he's not the one that gave Jesus his poop sponge with vinegar on it.
I don't know about that, but maybe that sounds like
Jesus asked for the Roman strength vinegar, as we know.
Just like me.
And they had poop sponges.
Okay.
And Jesus asked for a drink while he was up on the cross, and one of the Romans handed him his poop sponge that was soaked in vinegar. Oh. And Jesus drank that.
Really?
It was like a roast, yeah.
Oh, that's lit.
It was Ashton Kutcher put the guy up to it.
That's great. I'm glad that Ashton Kutcher was there. I didn't realize that.
Centurion with that, yeah. You didn't realize poop sponges, or that?
I didn't realize Ashton Kutcher was so involved.
Oh yeah, I mean he's been here forever. Haven't you seen The Butterfly Effect?
Maybe Ashton Kutcher's the demiurge. Yeah, the demiurge is he's like the lower god, and the higher god no one knows who he is. And I think the Gospel of Thomas and some of those Jesus unverified, non-blue checkmark gospels like Jesus is like, he tells Judas, like, I'm of the higher God. What? But the lower God is like the one that everyone has to deal with. So I feel like Punxsutawney Phil being Jesus, that means that Bill Murray is the demiurge.
Thank you for listening to Depth Perception. You can support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, kicking us a little bit of scratch on Patreon.